Jermaine. So I'm actually making some sweet potatoes right now, and I figured that I would make a video for you. So have the sweet potato, and you're just gonna peel it. If you leave some skin on, it's totally fine. And then you're gonna cut it into slices. So I like to cut the ends. I still use them, but this is just how I like to do it. And then I put it down and I cut right into the slice. And you know, you could cut it a little bit thicker than that. I think that's a little too thin, but it's fine, we'll live. And so then I just cut it into what looks like French fries. You want to cut it about that thick. Then I just go ahead and cut it into the squares and put it into the pan. And so some of these pieces I can actually just cut together. And so even if they're a little thin, you'll see that it's a little thick going across. Okay. Ideally, you would want a slice about this big and this thick. And then your French fry cut should look about that big. So maybe like in 1/4 inches. So that whole slice, I cut it into 3. And then you're going to do your cubes, ideally about this big right here. Okay. So for this recipe, you're gonna need 1 red pepper, and I'm going to go ahead and put half of a yellow onion. And you can just go ahead and dice this up. I like to use as much as the red pepper as possible. I've already washed my vegetables. Okay, you're gonna take the seed out. And now the red pepper has this little like black thing in there. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe not. Maybe you can, I don't know. But I like to not eat that. So try to take it out. It's just a little stem. It's nothing like major, but I just don't like it. And then I go ahead and take out any remaining seeds from the skin. Okay, so then I just go ahead and cut it into strips, but when you're cutting your pepper, put the skin side down. It'll be much easier to cut. You know, the whole skin thing, it actually, I want to say it depends on the type of pepper. Because some peppers you can cut the other way and it's fine, but some peppers you cut that way and it seems like your knife doesn't want to cut. So you're just going to gather all of the strips that you just cut. You want to, I like to cut them fairly thin, so probably about that thin. Okay, and you're going to bunch them up, and I like to cut them in small squares. I don't like to taste big pieces. So as small as you can. And then you can just give it a rough chop for a smaller piece. And so ultimately you just kind of come out with these very small pieces in there. And you're just gonna put these together with the potatoes. Now I know that it's either you or Alina who don't like onion. So if you wanna omit it, you can. It's up to you. Okay. If it's an older onion, I like to cut all the edges off because they're kind of dried up and I don't trust that. And the reason why I say that is because your onion should always be covered, and mine was covered, but I don't ever want to eat the first layer that's on the onion due to the fact that it absorbs toxins. So I just always like to cut it off. And I put it in slivers. If you don't like that and you're trying to incorporate onion, you can just go ahead and rough chop them really small. And I would not put it in the chopper because it's gonna let all the onion juices out and it might taste even more oniony, and maybe you don't like that. All right, Jermaine, so in this mixture here, we're gonna go ahead and put a couple of seasonings, and you can go ahead and use your oil of preference. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring that. And before you do any of this, set your oven for 375 degrees. I'm gonna use a oil mixture of olive oil and avocado oil. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit first before I put any oils in there. So after that, I'm gonna go ahead and put, I like Italian seasoning on it. And so you're just gonna kind of like sprinkle it, you know, kind of all over. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just do a little bit of onion powder. It amps up the onion, and just kind of lightly on there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do garlic salt. This is my favorite brand, but if you have something else, that's fine. And if you only have salt and garlic powder, then and they're separate, that's totally fine too. So I just kind of put it on there. Okay. Now I like to put cayenne pepper. You can totally skip that and put just regular black pepper. Okay. And then I go ahead and I put in my avocado oil. And you're gonna put these in for about 35 minutes. And you're gonna wanna try to check in between cookings to see if they're dry or whatnot. But you wanna like fully coat the potato, okay? Now, I like to put cheese in my potatoes, but I don't do that till after. And I like to put the little, I think they're fresh mozzarella circles. A friend gave us this as a gift. And I like to cut the mozzarella circles and put it in there afterwards and kind of toss it. And you can even get a little bit creative or more creative and put pesto after the potatoes are cooked, if you like that. I do. So when I do have the pesto, I'll go ahead and put it in. But the potatoes like this are just fine as well. They taste so good. I don't like to over season it because I'm not very good at always properly knowing my seasoning for the potatoes. Some people like to put their butter in now, and if that's what you want to do so it's got a buttery taste, go for it. There's no issue there. And so then I'm just going to kind of flatten it out so I can try to get an even layer of cooking. And I don't cover it with anything. I just leave it open like that. And I put it in the middle rack, not on the top and not on the bottom. So it's probably about maybe like, I did 4 small potatoes, probably about a 1/4 cup of oil. Okay, and then we just put it in the oven. Now I forgot to tell you the green scallions will also be going into our potato, but that's gonna be after, when it's already cooked. Now you can put them in there beforehand, but it's just gonna kind of like shrivel up. So I just kind of like to taste a little bit more of the freshness of this, so I don't put it in beforehand.